Hello, everyone. We are here for week 3. We are on chapters 8 and 9 in our lovely book. So grab your book and follow along. Chapter 8 is just kind of dry and boring. No other way to really talk about it. Page 162, we talk about a confounding variable. You'll see that term in bold. It is a variable that varies along with the independent variable. Confounding occurs when the effects of the independent variable and an uncontrolled variable are intertwined, so you can't determine which of the variables is responsible for the observed effect. Let's just take a stab at what do they really mean by this. Okay, you got your variables, an independent and an uncontrolled. Ice cream. How fast is the ice cream cone going to melt? We've got temperature outside, temperature. Let's say we're in a car. We just went through the drive up and we got ice cream. We can control somewhat the temperature in the car, but the sun, if it's a sunny day, depending on which side of the car which you're sitting on, that sun coming through the window may alter how fast your ice cream melts compared to somebody on the side that the sun's not hitting. We can't control the outside influences coming in to the vehicle that are causing our ice cream to melt. Also, your personal body temperature. If you've got a hot, sweaty hand and you're holding, we'll say even if it's just a cup of ice cream, your hand is heating up the cup. Vice somebody who, I'm trying to find something on my desk here, got a bottle of nail polish. Pretend this is the ice cream cup. If you're holding it like this, guess you gotta see it and eat it to watch. There we go. Nope. Here we go. Up. There we go. If I'm holding it like this, the heat's only here. Or it could be a wine glass. Think about your wine heating up. But if I'm holding it like this and going, my hand could be heating it. So, temperature outside from the sun coming into the car, the heat of your hand. Maybe you've got a dog in the car who is woof, 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 and his breath is heating up the ice cream. Those are all different variables that we can't control. We have no control. So if you're doing the experiment on how fast ice cream melts on various days, and whether it's you're holding it like this or you're holding it like this and eating it, your results will vary. So that's where we get the confounding variable. It's a variable that varies along with the independent variable. Confounding occurs when the effects of independent variable and an uncontrolled variable are intertwined, so you can't determine which of the variables is blah, blah, blah. So we can't control the outside temperature. Got it? That's how I look at what they're talking about. Sorry. Jump over to 163. Let me turn off this. We've got internal validity. When the results of an experiment can confidently be attributed to the effect of the independent variable, this experiment is said to have internal validity. To achieve, this is all in that first paragraph, to achieve good internal validity, the researcher must design and conduct the experiment so that only the independent variable can be the cause of the result. Not the dog breathing hot air on the ice cream, not the sun coming in. You would have to really kind of control that. So you wouldn't maybe want to do your experiment with how fast ice cream melts from the drive-through. You might want to go in and observe people sitting in. Okay, Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen is freezing all the time inside. You think there's a reason for that? They don't want your ice cream to melt before you eat your meal. If it's going to melt before you eat your meal, guess what? People aren't going to buy the ice cream. They're going to wait. And then they're going to say they're too full. Or their mom is going to say they're too full and they didn't eat their meal so they don't get the ice cream. So they keep it cold on purpose. So I hope that explains the confounding variable, and the internal validity. They continue on page 163 talking about basic experiments, post-test only design. Go ahead and look at that. Selection, pre-test, post-test designs. This is where I've told you before some of my students had done their surveys and then not got the results they wanted because we hadn't gotten to this section. So make sure you read through the pre-test, post-test design. The pre-test, post-test design is in the ladder. A pre-test is given, and then you know if you've got to tweak everything. And you would compare and contrast to see if you got the results. They go on to talk about attrition or mortality, dropout factors, different things for group design. Assigning participants to your group, page 168, between subject designs, within subject designs. Random assignment. It's probably the one where most of, you go here, you go there. I know nothing about you, so you're just going. Now, back to our ice cream example. You have a dog owner in the car or in the Dairy Queen that loves ice cream, and the dog owner knows their dog loves ice cream, so the dog's going to be breathing, trying to get the ice cream. So you would know they're going over into a group of dog owners who dogs love ice cream and are in the car. If I go to Dairy Queen, they know they have to put a lid on my Blizzard or Savannah's going to eat it even though dogs aren't supposed to have ice cream. So, again, how much do you know about the people to assign them into groups? When I had the group who did service dogs, they knew they were specifically talking to only people who own service dogs. The ones with the Christian premarital sex, they knew they were only, talking to people from their church. But it would have been good had they branched out and done something with somebody not in their church who didn't know them or know that they knew their mother, to see how the design would have changed had it been a little bit more anonymous with people they didn't know. So look at that. Order effect, practice effect, fatigue effect. People get tired. They get bored. Fatigue. So don't make it too much, too many questions. Carryover effect. Read through all of this. Counterbalancing. And that's chapter 8. It's a lot of stuff. Not so fun, not so glamorous. Read through it. And again, bring the article to class so we can go over the questions. Chapter 8's a little bit more fun. We're getting ready to select our participants, setting the stage, kind of jump over to page 181. Setting the stage. In setting the stage, you usually have to supply the participants with the information necessary for them to provide their informed consent to participate. This generally includes information about underlying rationale of the study. Sometimes the rationale given is completely truthful. Other times it's not. So read through that one. Straightforward manipulation, manipulating variables with the instructions. It's kind of, again, the wording. Is it, join your fellow guests in helping save the environment, Stage manipulation on 183. 183. Other manipulations are less straightforward. Sometimes it's necessary to stage events during the experiment in order to manipulate the independent variable. There we go. Successfully. When this occurs, the manipulation is called the staged manipulation. Stage manipulations are most frequently used for two reasons. The researcher may be trying to create some psychological state in the participants, such as frustration, anger, or temporary lowering self-esteem. So read through that one. Second, a stage manipulation may be necessary to simulate some situation that occurred in the real world. And they talk about Milgram obedience experiment. That was the one with the shock. Stage manipulation frequently employs a confederate, sometimes termed an accomplice. So put a star by that term confederate. Usually the confederate appears to be another participant, but is actually part of the manipulation. A confederate may be useful to create a particular social situation. So in the Stanley Milgram, when the guy is saying, "Stop, get me out of here, I'm going to die," all that craziness, he's the confederate. He wasn't being shocked. He was just playing a role. Over on 184, the last paragraph, as you can see, stage manipulations demand a great deal of ingenuity and even some acting ability. So if you can't keep a poker face or keep a secret, you probably don't want to be involved with that. Cost of manipulation, over on 186. Read through that. Researchers who have limited monetary resources may not be able to afford expensive equipment, salaries for confederates, or payments to participants. Now, with that, I will say, my university did not allow us to give gift cards, to pay anything to anybody. It had to be truly voluntary. So keep that in mind. Okay, now we move on in this chapter to measuring the dependent variable. They talk about self-reports, can be used to measure attitudes, liking for someone, judgment about someone's personality, da-da-da-da-da. And it gives some examples. Behavioral measures are direct observations of a behavior. Really need to remember to turn those off, sorry. So read through these. This is some really good stuff in chapter 9. Physiological measures, they're talking about EEGs, EMGs, measuring heart rate. Of course, I don't expect anybody to have access to equipment and go rent it or anything for their experiments. Sensitivity of the dependent variables. Over on 189, the sensitivity is particularly important when measuring human performance. Memory can be measured using recall, recognition, or reaction. Cognitive task performances might be measured by examining a speed or number of errors. They talk about the ceiling effect. That might be a new term you've never heard, ceiling effect. Independent variable appears to have no effect on the dependent measure only because participants quickly reach the maximum performance level. The opposite problem occurs when a task is so difficult that hardly anyone can perform it. It's called the floor effect. All right, ceiling effect. How fast can you eat the ice cream before it melts? Well, if there's somebody who's a true ice cream lover and they're used to here in North Carolina eating ice cream through the drive-thru on a hot sunny day, they could probably eat that and have ceiling effect very quickly. You hand the same ice cream cone to a group of 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds, it's going to be dripping down their arm and they might not be hitting the target. They'd probably have the floor effect. They don't have the experience. So keep those things in mind. Ceiling effect and floor effect. Some additional things. Well, they also talk on 190 about cost measures. Again, if you're going to do a survey, I highly recommend SurveyMonkey, free version, cheap, easy. Email it, post it on social media, share it. Easy to do. Direct observations, your time. So do keep time is valuable, time is worth money, so keep that in mind. Controlling demand characteristics. We noted previously that experimenters generally do not wish to inform participants about the specific hypothesis being studied or the exact purpose of the research. The reason for this lies in the problem of demand characteristics, which is any feature of an experiment that might inform participants of the purpose of the study. All right, you're eating ice cream, you're participating because we're going to determine whether you can continue to eat ice cream or not. If you make a mess and you hit the floor, then you won't be allowed to eat ice cream in the car ever again. That could drastically impact how they participate in the study. Over on 191, they talk about placebo group, a placebo effect. I think everyone's probably heard that. It's kind of the sugar pill. They're really not getting the drug. They're really not getting whatever. Be familiar with that. Over on 192, experimenter bias or expectancy effect. I think we talked about this last week in class, maybe. Expectancy effect may occur whenever the experimenter knows which condition the participants are in. There are two potential sources of experimenter bias. First, the experimenter might unintentionally treat participants differently. And second, the source of bias can occur when experimenters record the behaviors of the participants. There may be subtle differences in the way the experimenter interprets and records the behavior. All right, we got a group of people coming through the drive-thru to order ice cream, and they're all dog lovers, and we're a dog lover, and we want them to succeed with this experiment, so we make sure we don't leave the ice cream sitting there while we're still making the fries and pouring the drinks and everything else, because we want them to succeed. Now, up drives a carload of cat owners, and we don't like cats, or we don't like a particular breed of dogs, so we sit the ice cream out first. We lollygag and chat with our friends while we're waiting for the fries. See how that could happen? Just subtle little things are experimenter bias, or could be. On 192, last paragraph on that page, second line toward the end. Research has shown that experimenter expectancies can be communicated to humans, both verbal and nonverbal. Keep that in mind. Over on 193, single blind, double blind. Single blind, only the experimenter knows who got what. Who got the placebo, who got the regular type. Double blind, neither the participant nor the experimenter knows who got what. Probably remember that back to Gen Psych. Over on, and this video is getting really long, but we're about done, sorry. 194, research proposals. Read through that. Pilot studies, that's trial run. And over on manipulation checks, read through that one. And then on 196, they talk about debriefing. That's when you go over the results of your experiment with the participants. All righty, gang. Everybody who's a dog owner and came through the drive-thru, you did a great job eating your ice cream really, really fast. You can continue eating ice cream from our establishment in your car. All you cat owners, no. Or whatever it is you were trying to do. Again, illustrative article there. Do the questions, bring them to class. Make sure you're jumping in. I need you to really hit the Saturday cutoff, because people aren't able to reply the correct number of times if you don't post. So for the 2 people that already have posted and replied to each other, you're getting full points for week 2. Great job. All right. Wrapping it up. I'll see you in class. Bring your articles, and bye-bye.